Failure is a good lesson, and in this video I'm going to share with you 3 businesses and ventures and investments that I've made which didn't work out, and I'm going to show you the reasons why they failed and what I learned from them so that you can learn to not make the same mistakes. My name's James White, small business sales expert, made a lot of good decisions in my life but a lot of failures and issues that I've learned from. In this video we're going to share with you the 3 things that I've learned with these businesses that I want to make sure you avoid happening to you and your company. Let's have a look at the video. So my first failure learning lesson when it comes to business was in the 1996 timeframe. And you're going to laugh at this and you're going to think I'm mad, but there's a good friend of mine, Bradley Flack. And me and Bradley came up with this idea of connecting takeaways to the internet. The internet had just taken off at the time. And we called our company Web Driven. Both myself and Bradley were directors of it. And we came up with this idea that absolutely you could order a takeaway online. 1996 this was though. So guess what? Now you're thinking, well, James, you're saying you could have started Just Eat or Deliveroo. I had the idea, but the key lesson I learned from that, it was ahead of the time, or I didn't have the cash or the support to keep going and make that dream happen. Or maybe I didn't even want it enough. You've got to have, if you've got an idea, enough resources in place and enough motivation to make that business idea come to life and to deal with the tough times and the low times when it happens. We just finished as students and we're working in a company for the first job, and were we really passionate and driven by the business? Probably not. We saw a potential opportunity we thought would happen, and by the way, when I see Just Eat and those businesses that use technology and takeaways now, I go, wow, good on them. The reality is if you want to be successful in business, back yourself, but make sure you've got the resources or the passion to overcome the challenges that will come in those early days, because they will happen. In Web Driven's case, we gave up, we moved on, we carried on working and left our dream alone. Don't let that happen to you. The second business is a business that I invested in the COVID pandemic. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to share the name of it because it's not fair on the people involved and there's some legal elements involved there. But the reality is I put a bit of money and time into that business, and unfortunately last year we came to an end and it collapsed. And I lost some money and I lost some effort and lost a bit of pride actually from that business failing. What was the reason why it failed? 2 key things in my mind. The first thing is they started spending money before they were earning it. And one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in business is keep those expenses low as possible until you bring income in on a consistent level. Too many businesses want to spend, whether it's the shop that they get the fitted out, or whether it's in a service business and they want to go and get all the right equipment or get the expenses in. The challenge is once you get expenses in, you've got to bring revenue in to cover it. And if your revenue doesn't cover the expenses, hey, you've got a big issue. In the case of this business, they focused too much on spending rather than bringing the income in. And I could see it, and I probably should have said it at the time, but I let them get on with it and I wish I hadn't. That in reality cost them a lot when it came to the time when they weren't earning, and it made a big difference in them deciding to quit rather than stay with the plan because they just run out of cash. Conserve your money, make sure you spend as little as you need as possible to get your business going until you can bring things in. Yes, get some branding in place, yes, get some elements that make your brand stand out, but don't just spend money like it's going out of fashion, it will come and bite you. The second thing that business didn't do is they didn't focus on a real customer problem or a desire. It's one of the biggest issues that I see companies face on a regular basis. And when I talk to small business owners, they have this grand idea of what they do and how they do it. But in reality, there's just not enough of a burning desire or reason for that person or that company to work with them. There's a great quote that I was given once, which I encourage you to think about. Is your business a vitamin or a painkiller? And if you're a painkiller and you solve a problem, the chances are your chance of success is going to be higher because people want problems solved. But if your business is a vitamin, you can still do very well, but you've got to create that desire. You've got to make people want to spend money with you. And that's sometimes tougher than when you've got a problem. So when you're focused on building your business, really looking yourself in the mirror, chat to mentors, jump on my Facebook group and talk through with me. I'd rather see businesses really going to the nth degree of who their client is, their target market, what the big problems are, and really get them so they feel comfortable and confident that their problem is smacking someone in the face and they're going to want to solve it, rather than be, it's a nice to have and not be something that people want to go forward with. Because when it comes to tough economic times and when money's tight, people make decisions on those aspects. And if you're one of these things that's a nice to have rather than a must have, you'll get dropped. Focus on what the real pain point is for your audience and it can make a massive difference. So the third and final failure that I've learned from is a company that I started in 2005 that was basically my baby for a number of years, which I raised money in and grew to a certain size, but unfortunately I've now exited and had to shut down. The first thing in that business is we were too generic and too untargeted in our approach. We had a piece of software that we targeted small businesses. Hey, small businesses, we work with small businesses. And the reality is small businesses are just such a big category. We weren't focused enough on a specific audience in order to make a real difference for them. Whether we'd have picked a niche, whether the type of product or a type of industry, it doesn't matter. The reality is I didn't. We kept on focusing on being a generalist. And the problem is when it came to being a generalist, we were everything to everyone, not something to someone. So the biggest lesson that I've learned from that is don't make that mistake. Don't be in a position where your customer base is so varied that you don't know where you have to go to focus on your sales and marketing actions. It doesn't mean you can't work with other people, but know who you're perfect for and deliver brilliant quality services and products to that audience. And that leads me on to my second point. In 2013, I raised nearly £500,000 for that company. And I basically saw the customers and the people that we worked with as basically being numbers in a big plan that I had to achieve this growth that would then result in me selling my business and then exiting with loads of money. And the reality is it didn't happen because I forgot and stopped focusing on the basics. I believe businesses are a three-legged stool. If you focus on delivering incredible service for your customers and make the people in your team valued and love working with you, then the third stool in that business conundrum, which is the stakeholders and shareholders, will be looked after themselves. No company can operate unless you've got a brilliant set of customers who absolutely love you and what you do, and you've got a team that love you and want to work with you, especially in this really competitive economic climate where so many people are looking for qualified team members to join them and work with them. Focus on delivering brilliant service, focus on delivering a brilliant experience and company environment, and the shareholders will look after themselves. I didn't do that. I took the money and investment and then focused on growing and focused on numbers rather than people, and it caused and came to bite me on the backside later on. So there are my three key failures and what I learned with those three businesses. I've learned some things though. They've made me a better person. They've made me able to advise and support businesses in a better way than if I hadn't gone through those experiences. Failure is a good teacher. James Dyson had to do the Dyson cleaner hundreds of times before he actually found the magic formula to help him get the Hoover successful. Don't see failure as a problem. Embrace it, learn from it, see what you can generate as an experience that can help you take that knowledge and insights and become better at doing what you do. Failure is a good thing if you learn from it. I'm going to know with these three failures, these are the critical things that I've learned that I help other businesses with, and I apply in my own business now. Don't make the same mistakes. Hope you've enjoyed watching the video. If you have, like, subscribe to the channel. Let's make sure we get other resources and videos through to you every Saturday, and I look forward to sharing another video with you really soon. Take care.